Tonight, gambling with public health. Researchers say the impact of betting is significantly worse than first thought and say a rapid expansion online could be to blame.
There was a lot of borrowing of money, a lot of fibbing about where I was, where I should have been.
Also making the headlines after seeking refuge in Glasgow, how one woman says a charity saved her life.
And I'm live here at Paisley Halloween Festival as thousands of people get set to descend upon the town for a night of terrifyingly good fun.
I'm Emma Cameron in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. The rise of online gambling services could pose a global threat to public health. That's according to a study co-chaired by a University of Glasgow professor. The Lancet Commission particularly highlighted the industry's ability to reach young people with mobiles and gaming consoles.
Experts say tougher regulations are required urgently in order to curb the harms caused by gambling disorder. But industry heads claim the vast majority of those in the UK who enjoy a bet do so responsibly and safely. Lewis Mickey has this report.
They're off and running for the William Hill top price guarantee novices chase.
Traditionally, you might associate gambling with places like this or this. And while plenty of bets are still placed here, it's an industry which has diversified in recent years, something Kat from Glasgow knows all too well.
I would perhaps go on wanting to do like football betting or sports betting, but by the side of that there would be like bingo, there would be slots, there would be casino. Even if you just initially want to try a little bit of fun gambling or a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you end up being attracted to all the offers. Went through a few years of gambling in isolation, didn't tell my family, didn't tell my partner. There was a lot of borrowing of money, a lot of fibbing about where I was, where I should have been. I had to come clean to my partner and my family in September 2021, and it was a very difficult decision, but it was the best thing you can do.
Campaigners are worried that expansions through mobile phones and the internet could make gambling a greater threat to public health than we previously thought. A study by the Lancet Public Health Commission says at least 80 million people across the world suffer from gambling disorder. That can lead to harms including physical and mental health problems, relationship breakdown, heightened risk of suicide and domestic violence. It found adolescents and children were at a greater risk, an eventuality the charity Scottish Gambling Education Hub tries to prevent.
We've seen an upspike in people using personal devices for gambling and gaming since we were all kind of enclosed within our own areas during COVID, kind of stuff like that. We also talk a lot to young people about gaming. We talk about the associations of your things like Fortnite, loot boxes, penny arcades, and those gambling style mechanics, those putting money on something, risking something on an uncertain outcome for a reward or anything like that, and how that can easily transfer into gambling.
While there are already a number of rules in place for betting firms, you don't have to look far to find adverts. If you go to a football match this weekend, you're almost certain to be exposed to them, on shirts, on hoardings, even the league sponsored by a bookmakers. The report is calling for tougher regulations on the gambling industry.
Things like prohibitions on advertising, marketing, sponsorships, things like making sure that you have policies that could actually limit how much people could actually lose when they're gambling. But then also for those people who are experiencing harms, making sure that there is universal treatment and support available for those people who need help.
Industry body, the Betting and Gaming Council, say the majority of those in the UK who enjoy a flutter do so safely and responsibly, and it's working with the Government and Gambling Commission to deliver proportionate proposals to drive up standards. Campaigners say those changes need to be dramatic in order to be effective. Lewis Mickey, STV News.
A woman who fled her home country and sought refuge in Scotland says she was a walking, living corpse before being referred to a charity that supports pregnant asylum seekers and refugee women. Nkem Okeke came to Glasgow from Nigeria in 2019.
She says Ama birth companion saved her life after guiding her through the grief of losing one child and the difficult and painful pregnancy and labour of another. Caitlin Hutchison went to meet her.
Amma came into my life and saved me from death. They saved me from dying. In fact, not dying, I was dead already. A dying pregnant woman.
When Nakem came to Glasgow in 2019, she left behind everything and everyone she knew. Since then, she suffered the traumatic loss of her baby son, who died at just 15 days old. She now has 14-month-old Ethan and a support network for tough times. But during much of her pregnancy, she was in home office accommodation in England and struggled with agonising pelvic girdle pain, which left her feeling isolated and vulnerable.
I was still mourning. I was still in pain. All of a sudden, I was moved to a place I've never been. I don't know anywhere in England, you know. I noticed racist people doesn't want to talk to you. You look, you know, I look like I'm an animal, you know, a very terrible animal. You know, I became scared of my life.
Now back in Scotland, she has Amma to lean on, an award-winning Glasgow-based charity supporting mothers facing significant hardship. Many are refugees or seeking asylum, and around 1/3 of those supported by the charity are survivors of trafficking.
We support a lot of people who are in home office accommodation, if they're lucky, which can be quite dire, but also in some home office hotels, and they have literally nothing. So it's about trying to advocate as much as possible for what the woman wants.
Our volunteers are really the lifeblood. The organisation just doesn't exist without them. Our pregnancy and birth companions are on call towards the end of pregnancy. They're on call night and day to attend the birth. They actually go to the births. And then our postnatal companions support families for about a month in the home or hospital after the baby arrives.
The charity has now secured funding to grow its team of volunteers, following a year-on-year surge in demand for its vital services. Nakem knows all too well the impact it can have and calls her own birth companion, Anna, a literal lifesaver.
I think when I called Anna that I was already in labour, I think Anna was on her way home, coming from work. She never went home to refresh herself. She never went home to eat something, just revise and come to the hospital. She was there with me all night, squeezing her hand, and she never complained. And since then, we keep coming because they are the only family I have. So they are really great.
Caitlin Hutchison, STV News in Glasgow.
Following on from our report last night, in what's being described as a world first, a Scottish NHS surgeon is pioneering a new form of brain surgery, which can remove tumours the size of tennis balls through the eyebrow. The development has been described as a game changer.
The new approach can have patients back home within days of the procedure. It takes half the time of a standard craniotomy and vastly reduces the chances of any long-term side effects. Finlay Jack has more.
Last June, a brain tumour the size of a large apple was removed from Doreen Adams. She was one of the first people in the world to have it removed through her eyebrow.
And if it hadn't been the NHS asked me to go for an MRI, I wouldn't have known about it, and I presumed I wouldn't be here.
The new procedure reduces the likelihood of side effects like going blind or suffering from a stroke. But the most extraordinary part is the recovery time.
I was in the 1st of June, I was operated on the 1st of June, and that was like, I think I was in on the Thursday and I was home by the Saturday.
How did you feel on the Saturday?
Just fabulous. I was tired, that was the only thing I was tired.
Dr. Yamuriadis has committed his life to neurosurgery. His adaptation of the eyebrow keyhole approach, the thing he's most proud of.
It's the most rewarding first when you know the operation went well and the operation finishes, but it's especially that moment in recovery when the patient wakes up after a few minutes and the patient is fully awake, they can see again, they can talk to you. There's nothing more uplifting and rewarding.
So far, almost 50 people have been operated on in this way. At the moment, the surgery is only available here in Aberdeen, a world first for a place that already has a rich history of pioneering medical procedures. Finlay Jack, STV News.
Two men who drugged, raped and murdered a young dad from Fife have been jailed. Cameron Allen and Dylan Brister spiked Callum Simpson's drink, leaving him unconscious at a property in Methil in November 2021. The High Court in Edinburgh heard the pair then subjected their victim to a serious sexual assault, which they recorded on a phone. 21-year-old Allen will serve at least 19 years in prison, while Brister, who's 27, will serve a minimum of 23 years.
The footballer J. Emmanuel Thomas has denied a charge of importing Class B drugs. The striker was sacked by the Scottish Championship side Greenock Morton following his arrest last month. Emmanuel Thomas, who also played for Livingston and Aberdeen, is accused of attempting to smuggle more than £500,000 worth of cannabis through Stansted Airport. An exhibition celebrating 40 years of Scotland's national photography collection is being launched at the National Galleries of Scotland tomorrow. The display takes a look at snapshots through the years, including the Gorbals, as well as portraits of the country's most famous faces.
These photographs belong to everybody who's going to walk through the door. So we want people to take pride in it and the kind of pride in what Scotland's contributed to photography. And I think it's, it's a celebratory, it's joyful, it's colourful. We kind of want people to take that away. And also to kind of, let us know what they want to see in the next 40 years and come back in 40 years and see what we've done.
Libraries in East Dunbartonshire are offering a lot more than books to borrow. Locals can now pick up what's been called a winter well box. It includes a lamp which replicates the physiological benefits of real sunlight for people who suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Raheem Cham has the rest of the story.
As another dark and gloomy winter looms ahead, this Sunday, the clocks go back an hour. Claire is amongst the 9% of people in Scotland who suffer from seasonal affective disorder during long, dark winter hours.
You feel tired, you have no energy, no get up and go. You feel sleepy, but you don't sleep very well. So in the morning, you're still very groggy.
Glasgow and Edinburgh University researchers worked with Claire and others to develop a winter well box containing a lamp replicating the physiological benefits of real sunlight.
Best works in the morning, so if I'm reading or doing something on the computer or doing a particular job, I can have the lamp very near me. It really makes a big, big difference to your energy levels.
Claire and other Kirkintilloch residents are the first in Scotland to be able to borrow a box at the local library.
I would like to borrow this. Yeah. Can you show me?
We have the mini sad lamp. We have, to support that, our guide to wintering well, which contains lots of tips and advice on how to get through the long, dark winter months. And we also have information on a free online course that people are able to access to support themselves during the winter months.
A total of 100 wintering well boxes will be available across 4 libraries in East Dunbartonshire to be borrowed for 4-week periods.
All of these are verbatim words from people who've taken part in our research.
Researchers have created an exhibition at the Kirkintilloch Library, displaying their findings from their studies and advice on the best ways to cope with SAD.
What we know from working with people with seasonal affective disorder over the last 2 years is that there are all sorts of things that make a difference to seasonal depression. Building new light routines outside, regarding and noticing winter light differently. All of these things make a difference to how we feel low or depressed in winter.
In the meantime, Claire will be using the lamp to complement her other coping mechanisms. If the library project is deemed successful, the scheme will be rolled out to communities across Scotland next year. Raheem Cham, STV News, Glasgow.
Now Raman's here with the sport.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Autumn Sale.
Good evening. Hearts boss Neil Critchley says his side can give any team a game after sealing an impressive win in the Conference League last night. That ahead of Sunday's huge Edinburgh derby. Hibs are bottom of the Premiership, while Hearts are second bottom. David Gray says there is no better game to turn around the fortunes of the Easter Road club. Jamie Bothwick reports.
Game to try and
turn your season round, to use it as a springboard to kick on for the season. And as I say, these are the games that I remember. For all the games that I haven't played in, it's the derbies I always look forward to. So it's a real opportunity, and why the players should relish the challenge rather than anything else.
The team are in a good place, and it's, yeah, you have to handle the atmosphere, but we also have to make sure we go and play our type of game, and if we do that, then we can, we can give anyone a game.
It helps going in with a positive feeling around the team and the club, but at the same time, it's a derby, anything can happen. We know that the two teams are both going to be up for the fight, and at times it might not be the greatest of football, but it's whoever wins the fight and whoever wants it more on the day.
Hopefully we get a positive result, get the fans back on side, show them how much this club means to us, and there's no better game. It's Edinburgh derby, it's a massive one, probably the biggest one in years, so it should be a tasty one.
These men know the fixture inside out, having played and managed on either side.
Derby wins boosts everybody, boosts the club, boosts the fans, boosts the players. I think that's the big one. Every manager wants to win his derbies, and if you win your derby games, the fans love that, stay with you.
For both guys, it's huge. If they were to, right now, if you were to say it was a draw, they'd probably, secretly probably take it and walk and move on. But the importance for both of them to win the match is huge.
The stakes couldn't be higher when the capital clubs collide at Easter Road on Sunday. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Nadim Bayrami says Rangers' performance against Steaua Bucharest in the Europa League last night is the level they should aspire to every game. Philippe Clement's side defeated the Romanian outfit 4-0. The Alberts Club now have 6 points from 3 games in the competition.
We showed today a big reaction, and this was important for us, for the coach and for the fans. This has to be the standard, but we have to think game by game, because we have a lot of games now, we know, and everyone has to be ready, every player, and we have to play every game higher and higher, and to win every game, to try to win every game.
That's what we want, and where we're working, what we want to do, and obviously, again, we needed a win like this, and now we want to build on this.
What they've been doing, so it's good also that it was in this way, because it's in Europe. Somebody told me also it's more than 20 years ago that Rangers win a group stage game with 4 goals difference. So it's a good reference.
Brendan Rodgers has praised Austin Trusty's performance against Atalanta in the Champions League, adding that Cameron Carter-Vickers is closing in on a return to action and could be in the Celtic squad for the trip to Motherwell on Sunday. Carter-Vickers hasn't played for over a month due to a foot injury. Trusty and Liam Scales have been the central defensive partnership in his absence. Well, Motherwell boss Stuart Kettlewell says his team will have a go when they face the champions.
For Austin, big admiration, especially since he's come in. He's a player that's been playing on the wrong side virtually all his time, but he's just got on with it and coped with it. But then you see one of the big reasons why we did bring him in. His ability to leap and defend in the box. He's really powerful with his heading, but also his speed.
Yeah, I believe he can have a go. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to, as a manager, to pick up some results against Celtic, and there's different ways of doing it. You want to cast your mind back. There have been several occasions in my time where we've properly had a go and we've come out and tried to score goals and try to be as offensive as we can against teams such as Celtic.
And some sad news to end our sport tonight. Former Celtic midfielder Tommy Callahan has died at the age of 78. That's all your sport tonight.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Autumn Sale.
Well, let's get the weather for the weekend now with Philip.
A spell of wows will gradually settle into a scattering of traditional tapas. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Let's start tonight by taking a look at the bigger picture for the next few days. Now today our weather has been dominated by low pressure just to the southwest of the UK. That's slowly starting to sink southwards though, and then low pressure that's currently across Iceland takes control. That will push in a frontal system throughout Saturday that brings with it a band of rain to start the weekend. Then we get a brief lull Saturday night and into Sunday before this next set of frontal systems move in, bringing with it further rain to end the weekend. So a fairly unsettled and damp Saturday and Sunday for many of us. Back to you just now as we head through the rest of this evening. It is a bit of a messy picture. We've got a lot of cloud around. We'll see some patchy light rain and drizzle spreading in from the southwest through the first half of the night. We'll also start to see a lot of low cloud mist and murk spilling in from the North Sea. So temperatures not dropping too far. Lows for most towns and cities staying in double figures. Then looking ahead to Saturday morning, first thing, it will remain relatively dry, 1 or 2 showers spreading in from the south. Then as this frontal system moves in from the west, that will push in this band of heavy and sometimes persistent rain, moving eastwards throughout the course of the afternoon and into the evening time, with temperatures reaching highs of 12 or 13 degrees Celsius. Then looking ahead to Sunday, a bit of a chillier start to the day, but very quickly throughout the morning, we see this next band of rain moving in with highs of 10 or 11. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally this evening, we're heading into the weekend before Halloween, and events are taking place right across the country to celebrate the spooky season in style.
Thousands of people are expected to head to Paisley in the coming days to enjoy their annual Halloween festival. And our very own pumpkin queen, Laura Boyd, is there for us now.
Well, thank you, John. Yes, I think I'm more Wicked Witch tonight than Pumpkin Queen, but I am indeed here in Paisley, and I love this time of year because Paisley goes all out. This is the 10th year of the Paisley Halloween Festival. Last year, around 50,000 people descended upon the town. They're going even bigger and better this year, and nobody knows more about it than Pauline, the event organiser. Pauline, what can people expect this year?
We're really excited for the 10th anniversary. We're bringing back the parade, which we've not had since 2019. So the parade will be on tonight at 7 o'clock and tomorrow again at 7 o'clock.
And what can people see in that?
You can see LED jellyfish, zombie cowboys, a pirate ghost ship, loads and loads of surprises along the way.
Well, there is plenty to keep people entertained here. And earlier on, I went and chatted to some little witches and mini monsters to find out what they're looking for at tonight's festival.
I just love how you get to dress up and stuff, and just like scary stuff and stuff.
Oh, the scary stuff. What do you love about Halloween?
Like just getting to see like all the costumes and all that, and like getting to having to like watch like all the scary movies and that.
And what do you love?
Just being able to be yourself and dress up and stuff.
Maybe the atmosphere, and everyone seems very happy.
Yeah.
Love seeing all the kids in their little costumes. They are the best. They put on so much makeup, so much costume. It's my favorite.
People from all over the world come see us. That's it. We were speaking to people from America and all as well. It's crazy. Here last year.
And do you think it's nice that we're celebrating Halloween more and more in Scotland?
Aye, yep.
What do you like about it?
Just seeing all the different fancy dress costumes and stuff, and all the kids all dancing and enjoying themselves.
Just walking around and seeing like the stalls and food and that. Yeah, I like the smell of the chips.
I think I like the smell of the chips as well. But listen, before I head off to see the parade at 7 o'clock, I am joined by some of the performers, the brilliant Pyro Celtica, who are guaranteed to melt even the frostiest of Halloween hearts. Whatever you are doing this Halloween, have a spectacular time. And yes, they're going to melt even John Mackay's frosty heart. Take it away, guys.
Frosty Halloween heart? That's just not fair. I don't believe that for a minute.
Yeah, that was spectacular at the end there. So plenty going on at Paisley. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are this weekend, have a good one.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.